All right, we'll call to order for the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on Tuesday, November 12th at, it is 6:01 PM. So first we'll do a roll call to establish a quorum. David Kraus is absent. Benjamin Guttery is absent. Philip Allen, present. Melinda Julian.
Here.
Jason LeBrier, I am here. Vivian Anderson.
Here.
Val Visas.
Present.
Have a quorum. So audience participation, I'm guessing there is no audience participation tonight. We have an observer.
I'm signed in.
All righty. And then we will move on to the approval of minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. The minutes, and let's all vote. Decision to approve the minutes. Aye.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
You can go sit up front and keep an eye on us.
All right, move on to section 2A and start the public hearing at 6:03 PM. It's a consideration and action to consider a textual amendment amending the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 44 Landscaping and Appendix A Zoning, Article 8 by removing Chapter 44 Landscaping and updating the landscape requirements and regulation standards for Section 8 through 13 landscape regulations.
We introduced this a representative to go a little bit more in depth about the actual changes. But this year for our yearly changes that the Big Saginaw administration has requested from City Council, one of the items was to update the landscape ordinance. So this was a requested item from them. Essentially, we are removing a chapter that has repetitive language that's already existing on section 813, but they are making some modifications to 813, which is the landscape section. We have Mr. Chris Dyer to go a little bit more in depth about those changes. Yeah.
Chris Dyer, I'm the deputy building official for Saginaw. So in the past few months, we've been going over some changes and trying to make sure that we can implement as many changes and to be on path with what other cities are doing right now. So as you know, our ordinance is kind of outdated, so we had to go through there and bring it up to date. So basically some of the main changes going through this is, like she said, 8-13 and chapter 44 are repetitive. With that being said, staff going through this and saying, okay, well, chapter 44 and 8-13 are exactly the same. Maybe we should get rid of one so there's not conflicting languages in two different parts of the ordinance. So 8-13 or chapter 44 will be completely removed. And 8-13 will now be our new ordinance to guide people coming into the city. So first off, just some key points. As we go down here, you'll see some of the highlighted points, 8-13. Thing that's not either crossed out or highlighted has been exactly the same as what the other ordinance was previously. But like starting off in existing buildings, we wanted to change that to 50% since in our legal non-conforming portion of our ordinance 4-6, it says that buildings 50% or completely demolished have to be brought up to current code standards. So we wanted to have that go hand in hand. A lot of the little sections here where it says like 4-5 or 4-5 crossed out, it's just going to be in chronological order or numerical order. So not many changes there. And then, let's see here, find a place, double-sided page. On pad site developments, pad site developments, starting there and moving down to section. Or I'm sorry, all across down. So we took this and crossed this portion out because of the subdivision development. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is actually mentioned in another section later down the ordinance. So we decided to get rid of that double verbiage there, essentially. You'll see this in another section. Residential districts, we wanted all single family districts to have the exact same requirements. So if you live in SF1 to SF4, you'll have the same exact requirements as your neighbor that's down the street in SF2 or SF3. Also, let's see, again, numerical order changes. We didn't change anything on the percentages. We did catch a misprint in the old ordinance, so we just changed that to where it says 300 square foot. Per one understory tree, which is in the example down below, it does say 1 per 300, so we just caught that there. It's a simple change. Had some misprints. We also had some areas where they were just using some wrong letters. It's just kind of, but keep going. Go to irrigation requirements. So in the past, we required that all subdivisions, all required landscape areas except for subdivisions in multifamily. Multifamily, they're required to put landscaping in, or subdivisions, they're required to put landscaping in. Well, if you put landscaping in, you don't put irrigation in, plants die. Then we have a code enforcement matter. So we put it as all exterior areas except for single family, because in single family, you're required to have 2,000 trees. Single family, you can hand water those trees, and that's all you need. You need to have a full-blown irrigation system using 2 trees. So we decided to change that and make it to where multifamily, light industrial, heavy industrial, everybody but single family have to have irrigation requirements. As we move down, getting some verbiage, we did update a lot from another ordinance review we did on all the species. This is all straight from the approved list for the Texas native species and the horticologist list. We kind of went through them plant by plant, made sure we got our right region. So this is everything in there. Of course, I think Ren, he said something about it being in alphabetical order or just being, here's your tree list. So that's going to be up to y'all what y'all want. But we think kind of the way it is right now is it works out because there's a lot to go through in this plant list. It kind of stays exactly the same for a little while up until median and right of way plants. I think there was Also had a phone number on there that was wrong. We had some ordinance numbers. Long time ago. Then we have the main section that has been completely added into the ordinance. Basically just reads, the median right of way plan shall be selected with the consideration of having less invasive. All median right of way or median shall be selected. Horticulturist or other person so qualified. All plants shall have, maintain a minimum of 4 foot from the back of the curb or sidewalks. Any trees to be planted in the medians or right of way shall be approved by the Director of Public Works. Well, in areas where we require in subdivisions, they decide to plant that's a tree that would be planted in a 4 foot green space. As that tree matures, the root system starts to break up sidewalks, starts to break up the curbs. Which means the city has to come in and fix the sidewalks and fix the curbs. It's a lot of taxpayer money. So with this being the public works director got together, we went around town and we're like, hey, this is kind of the prime example. And we came up with this. I actually found some verbiage online that had a nice little illustration on there, but figured this kind of puts it into the hands of the Director of Public Works to say, let's not put anything in that area if he so deems, being that it may not be the best fit for that neighborhood or the next neighborhood coming in. So it gives us a little bit of leeway, but we still want to meet the intent of our subdivision ordinance and our subdivision requirements and landscape.
It's like y'all removed the Bradford pear. The Bradford pear is no longer in the, which those things are
well,
pretty destructive.
Yeah, they are very destructive, especially as they start to get older and they get weaker if you don't keep up with them and prune them like you're supposed to. I don't know if that's actually in there. I know that we have a lot of, as far as like the list itself, but that's something we can look at, to make sure.
I'm not seeing it.
It might have a different name, because I know a lot of these names have like both different regions call them different things, but maybe the Bradford pear is not truly like the Bradford, maybe it's a different name by the horticologist.
Mr. Chairman, if you did want to ensure that there was that type of tree, we can have that in our motion to ensure that that's on there.
I'd like to ensure that it's not.
Well, we can also.
If it's a Bradford pear in your residential lot, on your single family lot.
Yeah.
You're more welcome to remove it and plant another tree if you'd like. But again, we kind of go back to, we have a ordinance in place for residential, but that's whenever the house is built, as far as the homeowner goes. Typically, they don't want the 2 trees in the front yard, so they put a bunch of bushes and they put a bunch of other plants in there.
Yeah.
To fit the surrounding neighborhood. As we're going down here, we deleted the application checklist for landscape. We do that during our review committees, our DRC development review committees. So that's all being done in-house. There's no reason for another checklist to be done for another person. Different staff. Fees. Punished for a plant fee, so we decided to leave that alone. We'd rather you plant that on your own out of good faith and move along, so. No fees involved. Other than that, kind of sums it up. If there's anything, like you said, if you want us to add something or take something out, this is kind of the time to do it. But we just kind of went through there. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just made it a little bit better.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions or?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think that we should alphabetize the list of the trees.
Amen.
Just I think it would be easier. And maybe we could put a column of AKA, like whatever your Bradford pear is commonly known as, or something along those lines, just to give people opportunity to, I'm sure there's lots of trees there that have plants that have strange names.
You have the common name and the botanical name.
Yeah,
Correct.
That can be written in your motion. I did try to look up the names of the pear tree. I don't see it. You can include it in your motion to ensure that it's not there.
yeah, I know a lot of different places are getting rid of it because it's invasive. It's that flowering one in the spring and it's really smelly.
It
But-
does smell.
But they said it wouldn't reproduce, but it's blowing off into the woods and stuff and reproducing and just kind of junk trees.
I have a question about the bur oak. That's, as I understand it, a huge tree when it matured. And for front yards, we have two in our front yard,
The bur oaks,
bur oak.
yeah, I think those are on. Well, maybe they're not.
On the second, on first full page. This one down.
Yeah, and a lot of these trees are just
Ah, I see it.
in our region. So if there's things that.
Just
like
Native species.
Native in the Texas, Oklahoma, in a broad spectrum. So if there's things that are trees that you think are just way too big for our area, say we're not like the natural, we're not like a state park. We're gonna have a 75-foot tree in our front yard, but if there's something like that that you would like to go through and make sure that that's not in that list, you can definitely do so. And
And the list is for commercial, industrial,
This
everything.
is the list for everything. So in residential or like in a commercial establishment, like a light industrial, or heavy industrial,
That wouldn't be a bad.
that wouldn't be a bad thing. It's gonna be a big shade tree, but in a front yard, of course, it's gonna be a kind of common knowledge. You
Yeah,
don't want to put the biggest tree you can find in your front yard since you have limited space.
Mr. Chairman, to answer that as well, these trees are what you're going to allow. So if
Yes.
you want to not allow it, you would, in your motion, request that we remove changes.
all right. I like those bur oaks. I think they're kind of pretty.
There's no check for when someone decides to plant a tree, right? Like on a residential. So it's
No,
more-
yeah, so we eliminated the checklist. So say as a homeowner, and it's not so much for the homeowners portion of it. This is more for the commercials coming in.
Right. I can
Um,
understand commercial that, they would consult with someone.
Yes, yeah, we, in our review, they have a certain percentage that they have to make for the entire lot size. Whereas in residential, it's required either 1 4-inch caliber tree or 2 2-inch caliber trees. So you're not required to put, separate out there, part of bush and shrub and grasses and stuff. It's just saying, hey, this is what the subdivision requires for 2 trees in the front yard.
Right. So that.
Commercial, they're required to put in, like, I got a project right now, it's 144 trees. So they have a bit more to look at.
Did you look to see if that botanical name for that tree you're talking about was in there?
Yeah, I don't see it in there. It looks like it may have been already removed.
Calorie pear, Callery. So it's probably not even in there.
Yeah.
Well, then, moot
Done.
point, done.
I think it's a pretty well known fact. Nobody really wants to- Yeah, nobody really wants to plant them. Back when they were planted, they were great because they grew so fast and they were.
Yeah.
Awesome tree. After about 20 years, they become weak, brittle, any slight. wind
Very
that has
hazardous.
backbone, That's a wind tunnel. They're gonna blow over and it becomes a infrastructure nightmare for our public works. department and The homeowners as well. So I think it's kind of. Another thing that really wants to plant it.
Well, we got the corner between my tree guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions? Anyone?
I want the common name alphabetical or the full name alphabetical, and then the other would just.
I thought would be the common name.
Yeah, whoever wants to make the motion.
I would like to make a
Or
motion.
do I gotta close the hearing first?
Yes.
Okay.
nope, make it closed.
We'll now close the, public hearing 2A at 6:21 PM. And,
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. Oh, we need a second. Sorry.
oh, go right ahead.
I'd like to second at closing.
Oh.
Second.
Now I'd like to make a motion
All right.
that the proposed landscape revisions, trees that are allowed, common name be alphabetized by the common name.
Do you want that for just the trees or for all
All
itemized
plants,
area?
anything that is needing to be alphabetized. So let's say
Okay.
all.
Do we have a second?
Changes with that.
With the alphabetation.
Yes. The only addition, just alphabetize it.
We have a
I'll
second.
second.
All right. Got a first and a second. All those in favor? Reach out, so. It is unanimous. And I'm not sure what business is on this list, but that's where we're at.
So there's not.
So we move on to the staff report.
The packet, you have the project. An excavation, but they're still working on each section. They are 55.9% through with the days scheduled for that project. And the library, they had all of the public. They're just working on the structure. We don't have any new updates from the last month. They are posted on our website. Every month if we skip a month and we don't have a P and Z meeting, you can always go.
UCD Saginaw, what's UCD Saginaw? Number 11? Okay.
And
I think we're good. So that moves us or we will close out the staff report at 6:25. And that moves us to adjournment. If we have any motions,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn the
Alright.
zoning committee.
second,
Second.
all those in favor? Unanimous. Hey, we made it. Meeting adjourned at 6:25.